Welcome. You're listening to The Radke Show with David and Melissa Radke. That was what I imagine a mental patient would look like right before they're on a podcast. You were literally going like this. Wife and everything and blowing and sniffing.
It's part of my process.
Are you okay?
It's part of my process. I have to get in.
David, can I ask you a question?
Sure. Are you going to be rude to me?
No, but it is a question that I have wondered my whole life and I've never asked. Why do boys have to turn and cough?
Oh, you're talking about during a physical?
Yeah. What's that about?
I believe, I don't know about the turning part. That could just be where it's less awkward. But I believe the doctor would feel something kind of, in the nether region.
Oh, like maybe if there's a tumor or something?
If there was something that wasn't.
So when you cough, everything kind of exaggerates. I don't know.
Hey, write in and tell us.
Yeah, really. Wait, you've done that your whole life and you don't know why? This reminds me of the scene where Joey Tribbiani says, no, that's where a tailor measures. And Chandler's like, no, he doesn't.
No, I haven't done it my whole life. At the top of my head, I think I can only remember one, maybe two times. And it may be like right at that puberty line.
Yeah, that would be true. Okay. I have no clue where that came from. Had to be a subconscious.
And I know this because my last annual physical, I went in and they're like, oh, we don't need you to do that. I'm teasing.
I was going to say, you would have come home and told me that. Remember when I won that massage on that cruise? I won a massage, y'all.
A facial. You won a facial.
That's what even
Melissa got so excited she won a facial on the cruise.
I won a facial very first day. They had a drawing and I won it. And I won a facial. And I had never had a facial in my life.
But here's the thing. When you win anything like on a cruise like that, it was scheduled, was it 7:30?
Oh, yeah.
It was like,
if you pay for it, you can come at 10:45 or 2 p.m.
You get it free?
If you win it and you get it free, we'll see you at 5:15 a.m. So I get down there. I am so tired that I immediately lay on my stomach. Okay. And the woman goes like this. That's not where we work on your face. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I came home and told him. He has laughed about that. That's not how we work on your face.
But that's not my favorite massage story.
Oh, my friends, my girlfriends. Oh, what?
Oh, no, that's a good one too. I was meaning one that I was a part of. I can't remember where we were. We were on.
You weren't even in it. That was me and my mother getting a couples massage, and she came back and told you about it. That was me and my mother. She's just said it so many times you feel like you were there. What's going on down there? It's my mother. I had to have a foot surgery. Okay, I had to have it. And I have a place on the side of my foot that is like a little tumor. That's just, it doesn't hurt at all. You can poke it, whatever. And it can happen with the scar tissue, but it happened outside of the foot. So if you rub your hand over my foot, you will feel it. Otherwise it's a non-issue. Okay. Me and my mother are getting a couples massage. Don't ask me why. We just were. And it is as silent as can be. And all of a sudden, my girl goes like this. Miss Radke, what's going on down here? It's a very funny way to say it. And y'all, if I'm lying, I'm dying. She goes, Miss Radke, what's going on down here? And my mother went, and my mom starts laughing and she can't stop. She immediately went back to the cabin or whatever it was. We were at Myrtle Beach and she told you about it. And now she said it forever. And she says it's unattractive on my foot. And she always goes, hey, Melissa, what's going on down there?
That is so, it's one of those times, I guess I've heard it so many times. I feel like I was in there.
I know. You're Brian Williamsing right now.
And do y'all know what she's talking about when she's saying that? Brian Williams, actually, it ended up being what.
First of all, tell him who he is.
Brian Williams was on NBC for a long time.
NBC News at Night with Brian Williams.
A very respectable, reporter journalist. And I don't know if they fired him, but I think maybe they demoted him.
They released him from NBC News at Night.
He was complete. Yeah. Okay. So, but he stayed in the family, demoted, and then I think he might have went somewhere else. But the reason was years earlier he was overseas doing a story, and he had talked about the helicopter he was on taking on fire. Like, enemy fire.
It was right when we went to war after 9/11. We had gone to war and we were trying to take back control of Iran or something like that. Not take back control, and he said we went down due to enemy fire in Iran. My helicopter did.
Oh, would have been Afghanistan.
Okay, I don't really care.
But anyway, he had told this through the years, like in just little pieces and stuff. Evidently, then somebody came out that was maybe on the helicopter with him and said, we did not take on enemy fire. There was a helicopter very close to us that actually got shot down, I believe, but we never took on fire. So I don't know if the guy was just trying to go after him, but just saying, no, that didn't actually happen. But it made Brian Williams look like he was straight up just embellishing, trying to lie about it. But it was and this is fascinating. I'll try to find this if it's still available.
Yeah, you ought to link it.
Malcolm Gladwell,
who is a genius.
I mean, don't expect it to be like the level of the Radke show, but
for sure.
But he did a podcast on it and how that actually is a common. I forget what he called.
Well, David doesn't always tell the best stories.
Sorry,
because you're getting ahead. Here's the thing: when NBC found out that Brian Williams had been lying about his helicopter getting shot down, they said, how can you, a respected journalist, go into people's homes every single night and be the trusted face of the NBC nightly news, especially at a war-torn time like we're in after 9/11? You can't be. We're removing you. You're no longer trustworthy. Brian Williams went on to say, but this happened. It happened. And he went to counseling and all this kind of stuff. Come to find out it didn't. Malcolm Gladwell did a special. Malcolm Gladwell has a podcast called Revisionist History, and it's fascinating. Every single episode is great, every single episode. But in one of them, he actually did a study on how there are times that you will, I'm using air quotes now, Brian Williams yourself. You will put yourself in a story so many times or repeat the story so many times that you truly begin to think you're there even when you weren't. And it is a scientific, psychological fact that this happens. And people are not trying to be deceitful in any way. It's called the Brian Williams effect. I mean, Brian Williams has come out and been like, I'm so sorry. And he's actually had therapists and stuff come out and go, let's don't be so hard on the guy. This happens. Just like being shot down in a war-torn country was David, who thought he was getting a couples massage with me when someone made a joke about this growth on my foot.
It's scar tissue.
Is it the same weightiness? Is it the same weightiness? No, David's is more.
And here's the bad thing and the poor timing for Brian Williams. Because if it happened today, we don't trust anybody.
For real.
On the news today.
Brian Williams lied. Everybody does.
So we'd be like,
everybody
what's the big deal?
I can't find any news. If the Mickey Mouse Club started doing Mickey News, I might consider watching that. But honest to God, I can't even be sure about that.
And let me say, before we get any messages or comments, I don't care if you're a CNN person. I don't care if you're a Fox News person. I don't care if you're NBC, ABC, CBS. They're all suspect.
They are all suspect.
The only one you might be able to trust is your local news on what festival is going to be downtown that weekend.
And even that's touch and go.
And that may be,
Sometimes they say the Blueberry Festival's not going to be very hot. It's blazing hot every year. All right. Hey, speaking of news, I read an article about a week and a half ago that I instantly sent to David. And I Snopesed it.
Snopes.
You know, when you go to Snopes.com and you're like, is this true? It is true. It's interesting to me that it hasn't made national news. I saw it on, I actually saw it several news affiliates and online and stuff like that, but it didn't, I never heard NBC talking about it or Fox News talking about it or CNN. But it is true that recently the University of Arkansas, which is of interest to David and I.
Ooh, pig suey. I'm not going to do it all three.
Recently decided to put up the 10 Commandments in every building and classroom in the university on campus. Every building, there is a 10 Commandments, and I've seen pictures of it now, and I've seen kids crowding around it, and some are like this, and some are like this.
A lot of them were like, I've never read these.
And some of them are, and they're also in the, big amphitheater, theater seating class.
That'd be a good gig. That'd be a good gig to get whoever printed those or framed them, or that'd be a pretty good, nice little chunk of change.
What are you talking about?
Well, he had to buy all those things somewhere.
Okay, that's not what we're talking about. I thought you were like, how are we going to give money to Moses?
No, I'm always just thinking the business side of things.
Okay, but listen, I instantly, when I read it, and my daughter goes there a couple of years ago, y'all, I'm not kidding you, 5 years ago, I would have been like, I literally would have been like, God, this is just proof that we made a great decision and she's exactly where you would want her to be. I did not do that this time. I did not feel the same way that I would have felt a few years ago. But instead of really telling how I felt about it, because I wasn't even sure myself, I put it up on Instagram and I put up a poll. And I have 120,000 followers on Instagram. And I don't know how many follow me on my stories, but I'm on my stories a lot. And I put up a poll and I asked women, how many of you think this is good?
Now, and it was on story, so it's not up anymore, right?
Right. Yeah. David, 55, you talk about split down the middle, 55% of women said this is wonderful. 45% of women said this should not be.
Pretty close.
I am in the 45%. And I know that a lot of y'all are going to be like, what? Why? Before I get into it, what are your thoughts on it? Because every single time David and I have started to talk about it, I have said, no, save it for the podcast. So I am hearing this for the first time.
Well, I would say two things. One, I'd be very curious of the 45%, how many of those would be people that declare themselves people of faith? I'm trying to think of a general term. In other words, they maybe believe in the 10 commandments or they try to live by the 10 commandments. I'm just curious how many in that 45%.
Okay, I'm one.
Because I also am in that 45%. And here's the reason.
I wonder if our reasons are the same. Probably.
Here's our reasons. I don't know if I would have been before law school. I do think going through law school and studying constitutional law and everything else, those kind of things frighten me, as there's a lot of things that have been happening recently that kind of frightening me, because when the pendulum swings in a certain direction and we'll say there's a land grab, we're going to get everything we can get while we've got the power.
I don't know what a land grab is.
I
know what looters are.
We're going to change this. We're going to change this. We're going to change this because we have the majority and we're going to pull it in our direction.
Okay.
And it swings.
Okay.
There is a side, if you're aligned there, that you're like, yes, finally. But what concerns me from a constitutional perspective, if in fact we still have and believe in a constitution, is that the pendulum will swing back at some time. And do you want the people that you don't align with to take full advantage of that and to do things that you strongly disagree and do, I mean, it's really kind of the basis of why the colonies were started. It was breaking away from, an authoritative, crown. And we just have to be in that place where didn't necessarily mean about our personal beliefs or convictions, but the pendulum will swing back. And how far are we okay and willing to let it swing back the other way?
I'm putting my fingers up in front of David's mouth because I don't want him talkie anymore. Okay, David, I'm going to say that in layman's terms. Okay. Are y'all okay if they put up the 10 commandments for the Mayfair witches on the wall? Okay. Are y'all okay if they put up the 10 components that make up Buddhism? Or the 10 commandments from the Islam Al-Mallah Bible? If you are not okay with that, then that's the problem. I believe I'm saying essentially what you just said, but way shorter. Okay, this is like the time when I said it was Davy Crockett's birthday, and you went into 112 minutes of why it's important to remember Davy Crockett. And I said, at the very end, I go, I was actually just going to say it's Davy Crockett's birthday. Who is Davy Crockett? But thank you for that history lesson.
Shout out Davy Crockett and the Tennesseans, because there would be no Texans if it wasn't for them. Really
am so happy that Remy gets to look at the 10 commandments. She knows what they are. But I'm glad she gets to look at them every day. I got no problem with it. I'll be sad when the components of Islam get to be put on the wall. That will make me sad. But I can't fight it. Because as a Christian, the 10 commandments are on the wall. And according to the Constitution, that is fair. Thus, there should be a division between church and state, especially at a public university, at a taxpayer-funded university. Am I correct about that?
Yeah.
If not, edit that out because I'll sound like an idiot.
And I think okay, I don't want this to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, and maybe it is, but when they were there for years and years and years, okay, this country absolutely was founded on Christian values. I forget, all but one of the signers of the original declaration were people of faith.
All but one?
I think all but one. So we were very rooted in that. Yeah. And so for them to put those up, because that's where it started, that's what it was, then it would have been nice if they were never taken out. But again, the pendulum swung and they came out. But now that they've been taken out and you're now talking about putting them back in, you're not arguing they've always been there, why would we take them out? But you're saying they've been taken out, why are we going to put them back in? And I think we just have to be very aware of what that means on both sides. And like I said, do we believe in the 10 commandments? Absolutely. Do we wish everybody lived by them? Absolutely. But the government or a state run, university should not be what we put our hope in as far as right and wrong and living right and our salvation and those kind of things. Mm-hmm. If we are arguing and fighting because we want our kids to look at them every day, is that because they're not in your house? Is that because you're not teaching them? Why is it so important that you want it in the public place?
I actually didn't think about that.
It's not the government's responsibility to teach those. It's not the universities, unless it's that class. And I just wonder how many times there are people arguing for it, have they driven with their kids and taught them the 10 Commandments?
You know what, David? Honestly, that's a really great point. I haven't even thought about. I haven't even thought about that. To me, it was all about, well, what could possibly come after this? Are we okay with that? Mine was never. I'm so glad Remy gets to drill these into her brain every day when she walks in the cafeteria, because the truth is, Remy's known the 10 Commandments when she was 7 years old.
They've been drilled in her brain.
They have, and I guess another question for that 55% of Instagram people who go, no, this is a wonderful thing. Are you under the misconception that someone is going to be outside waiting for the professor to get to class before they walk in? And they're going to look across the hall and see the 10 Commandments. And they're going to go, you know what? Yeah. I'm not going to murder anymore. Or, you know what? Adultery is bad. That thing right there just convict. Like, I don't think it's going to have the benefit that you think it's going to have, other than just us being able to say, ha, we're Christians and we get to be in that building. But that isn't fair. Because then what happens if 16 years from now, we elect a president and therefore a government that is, I don't know, David, like, blasphemous against religion?
We can't even.
Then that's the pendulum swinging.
We can't even tell. That's why they did. And they did an astounding job of writing that document and the Bill of Rights in the years that they did, because it's still like a living, breathing document.
Hold on, though. This is curious to me.
That you can.
Who is the one man that helped sign the Declaration of Independence that was not a Christian and considered himself to be an atheist and is probably burning in hell today?
I didn't say any of that last part.
Let's see who she says it is. Well, AI is stepping out of this when it says AI is not available for this. Okay, I don't know who that would be.
I can look and find it, but anyway, yeah. So I'm curious, in that 55-45, how many of the 45 are people of faith and they, try to live by the 10 Commandments, and then how many, just after looking at it from the angle we just discussed, of the 55 would go, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. So every time we,
by the way, the whole burning in hell thing, there is a heaven and there is a hell, but I was just being dramatic.
Every time we take something,
right,
we have to know at some point it's going to be taken from us.
It's going to be taken from us
in some way. It's just happened. If you read any history at all, the Roman Empire is no longer. Everything, swings back and forth. And the people,
to everything there is a season.
Not that God could not use someone seeing the 10 Commandments to draw them to him, but God could also use that boy sitting by you in class, or that girl sitting beside you in class. God could use the tree when you walk out of the building and you see that. God doesn't need our help to go, here's our rules, listen to it. Again, I wish everybody lived by them, but I think sometimes we just need to step back in where we're at and our beliefs. We should be teaching those. We should be sharing our faith.
Yeah.
And not expecting a government or an institution.
I have to tell you something that kind of burns me up a little bit is when people will say about, let's say it's the youth group at church or the children's department at church, and they'll complain and they'll say, they're not doing this right. They're not teaching this right. They should be teaching the kids this. I just want to scream out, Are you teaching the kids this?
Well, no, but I mean,
are you? Scripture tells us to talk about it when we're awake, when we're asleep, when we're driving, when we're talking, when we're like to let the the name of God constantly be on our tongues with our family. Are you? And so, what is terrifying to me is when we as parents, especially, step back and just hope the government will cover it. Lord help us all if that's what we're hoping for. But the day that I read about that, about the 10 Commandments, and I came in and told David, I said, I just have a real problem with it. And David goes, that's because you're a constitutionalist. You probably don't even remember saying that to me because we were crawling in bed that night. And I went, don't say anything else. Save it for the podcast. You rolled over. God knows you were asleep in 7.2 seconds. I typed in, what's a constitutionalist? And I guess I am. I guess I am in favor of the Constitution. At the end of
Don't say you guess you are.
No, you're right. At the end of my life, at the end of this world, I mean, God wins. He has my whole heart. I'm absolutely, madly, passionately in love with him. The Bible will be talked about and read and served in my home. I don't want the government to do that. But while I live on this land and I'm under the law, the Constitution represents us fairly. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is God is the spiritual authority of my life, but he has put me on this land and under leadership and under the Constitution.
Right.
So.
And everybody has that opportunity. And that's what makes America, for all of our faults and scars and warts and everything else, it still makes us the greatest country in the world. Even though we sometimes look and go, oh, shouldn't have done that or whatever. We're still the greatest country because of that.
Do you guys remember? I would have been in the 4th grade, maybe. Do you remember going to elementary school when you were little and them starting off every day with the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer?
I don't know if I remember the prayer.
There was
vividly, I remember the
Pledge of Allegiance.
And always, like in Texas history, we did the pledge to the Texas flag.
Oh, see, we didn't. We had a Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, kids. Good morning, Hudson Elementary. Let's place our hand over our heart. They would do that. The United States of America had indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Let's close our eyes. Give us a good day today. Keep everyone safe. Help us to learn and be healthy and happy when we return home. Amen. Have a good day. Everybody out of the hall. I mean, I distinctly remember that.
Yeah. And then
it just went away.
And I do think there are, some studies, and you could just say this maybe correlates with society too. But since prayer was taken out of the school, things have changed.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, as a believer, I think it could definitely have an impact on it. At the same time, our society, at the same time, the biggest thing, I remember I'm always saying the biggest problem was kids chewing gum.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sure schools would love that to be
the biggest problem.
The biggest problem. So, anyway, hey, we'd love to hear your opinions. If you agree, disagree,
we like them either way.
We'd love to hear your opinions. And so comment or even send us an email, Melissa Radke, and we'd love to hear.
We read your comments. We read your comments.
There's a very good chance that a lot of people have dozed off. But
you know what? You earned college credits today. You just earned 3 credits.
Maybe not. Maybe we hear back and go, hey, they're a little more interested than that we thought. But we'll be right back with a little bit lighter fare right after this quick break.
Hey, y'all, it's Melissa. If you like what you hear on the Radke Show podcast, then you'll love what's happening over on my Substack, Stretch Marks. It's where I tell the stories I'm not ready to say out loud yet. You'll get my weekly letters, my daily voice memos, and the kind of community that feels like girlfriends around queso with Diet Coke. Come join us, melissaradke.substack.com, and bring your stretch marks too. We wear them proud. You guys, on Tuesday's episode, we had a malfunction due to, I couldn't even tell you, the Amazon
World Series
Web Services.
Okay,
Amazon Web Services. Anyway, The second part of our Tuesday episode did not get recorded and could not upload. Okay, it got recorded, but it didn't record well, and it would not upload, and it didn't come out.
Which half of the country felt this to some degree. But
in that particular part of the episode, I had talked about this little book that the 89-cent notebook I bought at the dollar store. It's a white notebook, nothing else, college ruled paper, that has become my prayer journal. And I talked about that in that episode. I will probably bring that back up again in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to refer to it today, and you're going to be like, but what is it? It's just that. I just went into the dollar store, got me a school notebook, and that is what I use as my prayer journal. What I write in here, what I repeat and say every single day in my prayer time, I'll talk about it with you. But today, for this segment, I want to refer to the back of the notebook. The back of the notebook has some pages where I have written down blessings. Because here's a little thing about me. Number one, I am a visual learner. I always have been. I am a visual person. And if I do not write down the blessings so that I can refer back to them, I will forget they ever even happened. In fact, if I don't know that I have this part of a journal going and a notebook going where I can write down my blessings, I won't even be looking for them. And at 51, I can tell you that is true of me. I just tend to look for the glass to be half empty, and I don't want to be that way. So I'm coming through here. Let me just read one. I signed my second book deal. I got to go to Cancun with the Golden Girls. It was a great week. I got to go see Mean Girls at the movies with Remy. Rocco started dating a really sweet girl. Her name is Taylor. David's MRI got moved up a whole extra day. I just write down anything that blesses me, big or small. Why do I bring that up today? In the last 2 weeks, David and I have been blessed by 2 of you. And only 2. And there's 10,000 of y'all that listen to us. No, I'm just kidding. But 2 of y'all in particular, we have been blessed by. Hi, hot stuff.
What?
Rocco just walked in from school. And I want to talk about it today. I am not going to share their last names. I'm only going to share their first names. But here's the thing. I do want to give them credit, but both of them are very strong believers. And I'm going to give God more credit than I'm going to give them. But they were used by God. They really were. And I want David to take the first one.
So a lot of you are probably aware of the situation we had with Remy last week where, she wasn't feeling well and it was kind of progressing. And we kind of thought maybe she just hadn't been taking great care of herself, not drinking enough water, those kind of things. Come to find out it was pneumonia, communally acquired bacterial pneumonia, which bacteria is more severe than the viral and oftentimes ends up in the hospital. When the doctor called and said, hey, this is the doctor, I'm going to do my best to keep her out of the hospital. Are y'all planning to go by any chance? Because I would recommend that if you're able to. Of course, that's all we needed to hear. And we took off when we realized the severity of it. But the problem was we had intentionally decided not to go to Parents Weekend. Remy was having to do some stuff work-wise for her sorority. All the people were in town for family weekend. They were playing Arkansas was playing Texas A&M. So there was no hotel rooms. And if there were, they were 30, 40 minutes away and over $500 a night type thing. So anyway, Melissa just, shared what was going on and had so many people. You said 2 blessings and 2 ridiculously God-sized blessings for sure. But we were blessed by so many of you, just the words of encouragement, or we had people looking up hotels and Airbnbs.
People would message me and be like, there's 2 hotels, there's 2 rooms available right now at the Hilton Garden Inn. Also, they're about $800, but if you're a night, but if you're able to do that, well, I'm not, Jessica.
But we got blessed by a lot of people just reaching out and loving on us and just the emails of saying, I love the podcast. I love stretch marks, whatever it is, those are absolutely blessings and encourage us. But in this case, we had a lady named Stephanie reach out, and she says, I have a home in Fayetteville. I live about 4 hours away, but we have a home there. So we're able to come and go whenever we want to, or our son's at school. It's available this weekend. I'd love for you to have it. I'd love for you to go take advantage of it. And so she opened her 3-bedroom, 2-bath, cutest, nicest little house. I say little. It wasn't
you
little.
Don't know what you're walking into. Y'all have seen hoarders. You don't know what you're walking into nowadays. You just have no idea.
But it was.
But by faith, we said yes because we didn't have the money to make that decision that quickly. We were very much prepared to sleep in our car while Remy slept in her dorm room. We didn't know what we were going to do. We had other priorities, I guess I should say, than to lay down that kind of money for a hotel room. And she messaged and we took a shot. And let me just say, when God does, he always does above and beyond.
Beautiful, beautiful house. And I think it was a totally different weekend, even for Remy getting to feel better. Mm-hmm. Because, hotels are great, but there is something different feeling a little more home and being able to stretch out on a
I made it a point never to show the home on Instagram, Insta stories, or anything like that. If she wants to show her home and advertise her home, that's her business. I made it a point not to. But Rocco did FaceTime once, and I took the phone and showed him. Rocco goes like this. Rocco doesn't know about bills. He doesn't know there's priorities, and we tithe first, and then we say, you don't know. He went like this. He went,
I'm sorry. He absolutely knows about tithing and saving.
Okay.
He may not save, but he does tithe. Okay.
No, I get what I'm saying is he doesn't recall all of this in saying a sentence like this. I tell you what, it'd be nice to have a second home down there. We can go see Remy whenever. Why don't you talk to him about going in halves on that thing? Okay. It was just such a blessing. You blessed our socks off if you're watching this.
Absolutely.
We said over and over.
And the fact that it was relatively close to the catfish hole. That's a little cherry on top. Uh-huh. That's how much God loves us.
Mm-hmm. So we wanted to say thank you for that. And we wanted to say God is so stinking good to us. A couple of weeks ago, Remy was home for fall break and she did the podcast with me. As she was sitting here and we were going back and forth and just chatting, she made the comment that this summer she would not be working at Camp Olympia because she really wanted to go and do some leadership abroad in Portugal, in Lisbon or Barcelona or wherever, these different places. And she really wanted to do it. And I said, oh, you do you? To which she said, yes, Mom, I want to go to Portugal so bad. And it's only like $8,000. And all you have to do is put down a deposit. And when she said it, guess what I felt? Mom guilt. I know that's shocking. I felt this twinge of there's no possible way we can make that happen. And how do I look at her in the face and tell her that? How do I look at her and say, the engine on my car blew up. We're literally driving your dad's truck around right now. We don't even have a second car. And we've got you in college and we've got you in a sorority and we've got your brother about to graduate and we're paying for ACT courses that he's taken on. Like, it just isn't at the top of the to-do list right now, right? And you feel as a parent, I want them to have everything and then some. I never thought, I had a twinge of mom guilt in that moment. But did we ever talk about it? Like my guilt or anything?
No, huh?
No. In fact, what we did talk about is, do you want her to do it? Well, of course. How are we going to make it happen? I don't know. We're going to pray about it. We're going to see. We're going to take our time and figure it out. We didn't have to figure it out.
Because I don't know if we said it in this time, but we approach a lot of things or most things going, if God wants this to happen, whatever this is, he'll open the door and he'll make a way. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if we had that specific one about this, but that's kind of how we live our life. And
like, for instance, getting a second car, God clearly doesn't want us to have one. He hasn't opened the door and he has not made a way.
Or a table.
Okay, anyway, 24 hours after the podcast came out.
I don't even know if it was that. I think it was 4 or 5 hours.
Dear Liz, Well, he's about to cry. Emailed and said I was on my morning walk and I was listening to the Radke show like I do. And my daughter's a senior in college and she did the leadership abroad for the summer or I think she did it for a year. And I would like to sponsor Remy.
She said it changed her life.
When David said, did you read this email? I said, no. The first thing I said was, what did she mean by sponsor? I got online and we wrote back and forth. The last thing that she said to me was, okay, I'll run by the post office today and I'll put the check in the mail. I have to tell you guys, I've been on social media for a long time. Things like that don't happen. Things like, I'm going to run by the post office and drop off the check happens all the time.
Well, and how many times have you told people that you were going to send them something and then you just didn't?
But that's because I don't like to go by the post office. But we picked the check up out of the mailbox just a couple of days later. And y'all, when we tell you that God is better to us than we deserve, He is so good to us. It was important to me that we take a second today and we not only thank Stephanie and Liz, but we thank God. And the reason is because David and I are in a situation in our family right now where we need God to work a miracle. No, it's not about a second car. No, it's not about our children or our house. All that's fine. But there is a need within our family. And we need to be reminded that God is good. God is for us. God is constantly moving heaven and earth to get to us. And if I don't recognize Him, if I don't write down His blessings, if I don't share them with you, how will you be encouraged? Let me tell you something. We are overcomers, ladies and gentlemen, by 3 things and 3 things only. The blood of Jesus, the word of God, and the power in our testimony. That is it. The blood, the word, and our testimony. And our testimony today is that 2 women went out of their way to take care of us because God worked through them. And I am reminded, as you should be, that there are really great people in the world, but God is above it all. And He has been so, so good to us. I hope that encourages you today.
You know, with the journal that's so important, a year from now, probably 20 years from now, we'll remember these 2 things. They'll be brought back up. And they're great. But every day there's something. Every day there's those little blessings. And I truly believe they're in your life too.
They are.
Sometimes it's stopping and paying attention, but writing them down because I can't remember what you said. Oh, my MRI getting moved up. That doesn't seem like a big deal now because I've had the surgery. I feel better, but man,
you're in such pain
on that day. So the big ones are great, but writing those down and capturing them, you have them if you look for them.
One of the things was Rocco started dating a sweet little girl. Her name is Taylor. Hi, Taylor.
Give it a second.
She's still in our life. What a blessing. He just never ends. His goodness never ends. And thank you, friends, for letting Him work through you. David and I are so blessed. We'll be right back after this. Hey guys, quick break from the show, but this is important. If you're loving these conversations, then Stretch Marks is where you need to be. That's where I share the stuff I don't always say out loud. Stories, voice notes, confessions, even a little advice now and then. It's real, it's honest, and it's waiting for you. Go to melissaradke.substack.com and join us. We're building something beautiful over there, and I want you in it. All right, time for our little game. Today, David, I am going to be playing a clip from TikTok. And it is it was recorded on a game show. Maybe a woman like $25,000 pyramid. She's trying to guess different desserts. Okay. She's going to be saying the desserts, and you and I are going to, this little sketch is going to be about 18 seconds long. You and I are going to laugh according to our love for said dessert.
Okay.
Okay. That is it. That is it. So scooch up, get comfy. Here we go. Okay. We're going to laugh according to our love for said dessert. So if we hate it, what is one, David, that you would just sit there and be like,
I don't know.
For me, I would blackberry cobbler. I'm not getting them things all stuck in my teeth.
Ooh, I like blackberry.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Cheesecake. Apple pie. Chocolate chip cookies. Brownies. Ice cream sundae. S'mores. Banana split. Pumpkin pie. Red velvet cake.
David, I don't know what she said after that.
Carrot cake. Cobbler. Peach. Strawberry shortcake. Cake, layer cake, Boston cream pie. Cheesecake.
Okay, that was it. That was it. Well, the problem is that she didn't stop on cake, layered cake. Had she done that, I would have lost it. Chocolate chip cookies was by far my favorite, followed by brownies.
Red velvet was
yours.
But the funny thing is, I feel like
Cake would have been mine.
I at least had a snicker on most of them.
Oh, not carrot cake.
Yeah, I like carrot cake too. If it's got good cream cheese icing.
You didn't laugh very much on s'mores, and you know you like s'mores, boy. Okay. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching today. I hope that you enjoyed our time together. I love that we just chat and that y'all are a part of it. Make sure that you leave us a review, make it a great review, and we will personally go to the post office and put you a thank you card in the mail. I won't. I'll say I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to do it.
We'll go to the post office in our heart.
In our hearts, we're in the post office, and we're sending crap left and right. All right. We love you. See you next time.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Radke Show. We're going to end now so that you can go and love on your people. Till next time.